A few weeks prior to the release of this video, I put out another video called 10 Yankees Who Could Be Gone Next Season, and already 2 of them have bitten the dust. Harrison Bader was placed on waivers and ended up with the Cincinnati Reds, and Josh Donaldson's uneventful Yankees career also came to an end when he was released and has since joined the Milwaukee Brewers. The kids are up, but that doesn't mean there won't be changes this winter. The Yankees still need to improve their athleticism, their contact ability, and their ability to stay on the field. As we reluctantly watch other teams gear up for the World Series, the Yankees have a decision to make: who stays and who goes as part of this rebuild. Here is my list of Yankees who will not be back in 2024. Please stay tuned for the honorable mentions at the end. Number 5, Domingo Germán. What a waste of talent this guy is. After authoring one of the best games ever pitched by a New York Yankee on June 28th in Oakland, a perfect game, he quickly spiraled out of control. He made just 5 more starts with the Yankees in 2023, with his final appearance of the season coming just over a month after his perfect game on July 31st. In that game, he was supposed to start but ended up pitching in relief because he was mysteriously unable to start the game. Yankees blamed it on some armpit troubles. Turns out he was drunk, and he was drunk often. He had a belligerent incident in the clubhouse in which he mocked a teammate that was being sent to the minor leagues and challenged manager Aaron Boone to a fight. He smashed a TV, he flipped over a couch, and ended up having to be restrained in the sauna before being kicked off the team, essentially. Look, you can fight the manager, but when you smash the TV and interrupt the Madden tournament, that's when things get serious. Domingo Germán was sent to rehab, and after a season that saw him be suspended for sticky substances, throw a perfect game, and then be placed on the restricted list, I think his Yankees career is over. Expect him to be non-tendered. I think he'll be pitching in Japan by this time next year if he can lay off the sake. Number 4 is a guy who did not even pitch in 2023, Frankie Montas. This was another beauty of a trade by Brian Cashman. He had a shoulder injury with Oakland, but the Yankees traded for him anyway, and yet it was still a surprise when he got off to a slow start. He did have a couple of nice moments. He pitched pretty well against the Mets. He had a decent game against the Tampa Bay Rays, but he came up lame in spring training and had to miss the season with shoulder surgery. I'm not sure if the Yankees would bring him back on a 1-year prove-it contract. That seems like the type of thing that Brian Cashman would do, but just judging from his body language during the time that he was with the Yankees, I don't know if he's cut out for New York. Do not be surprised, however, if Frankie Montas catches on somewhere else and has a good season. Number 3 is a guy who's actually under contract next season and who a lot of Yankees fans really like, and that is Kyle Higashioka. He's a good receiver. He's got surprising power for a backup catcher, and he's been with the Yankees for a while. He's a good teammate. You don't have to worry about him flipping over any couches in the clubhouse. But here's the issue. The Yankees have Jose Trevino coming back from injury. You've got Austin Wells, who made his debut in September and is a top 10 prospect. You've got Ben Rortvedt, who was called up this year and did a nice job behind the plate. Doesn't hit very much, but he caught Garrett Cole a few times down the stretch in Trevino's absence. However, catching is a very valuable asset, and the Yankees need to improve in a lot of areas. So it makes sense to deal from a position of strength, especially since Kyle Higashioka is not your everyday catcher next season. I think he will be moved, I think he will be traded, and I think the Yankees will get something decent back for him. Number 2. Luis Severino. It's always difficult when somebody comes up through the Yankees minor league system, has a ton of fanfare, has a good start to their career, and then struggles with injuries. And that's something that Luis Severino unfortunately has had to deal with. His body has betrayed him. He spent much of the last few seasons on the injured list, and though his stuff is still good, this year he just wasn't effective. He had a negative 1.5 pitching WAR. He was 4-8 on the mound in 19 appearances, 18 of which were starts, 6.65 ERA. and 79 strikeouts in 89 and a third innings. We're used to him striking out way more hitters. He was throwing too many pitches down the middle of the plate. It seemed like he was giving up 2 or 3 home runs every single time out. He was often putting the Yankees in an early hole. And though he still has some wicked movement on his slider, still got a good changeup, and can still get the fastball up there in the upper 90s, for some reason he just is not effective. And to make things worse, he just cannot stay healthy. Unfortunately, I think this season was the final year of Luis Severino's Yankees career. I wish him the best, but above that, I wish him health. Before we get to number 1 and honorable mentions, a word from our sponsor, Gametime. NYY Recaps is sponsored by Gametime, the fastest growing ticket app in the world. Download the Gametime app to your phone or other smart device, or visit gametime.co to get last-minute tickets to all your favorite types of events: baseball, other sports, concerts, theater, comedy. I recently got tickets to see Jerry Seinfeld through Gametime. You name it, you can find it on Gametime. Use the code NYY Recaps for $20 off your first purchase. Gametime, lowest price on last-minute tickets, guaranteed. And number 1, Aaron Boone. I suspect that Aaron Boone will be replaced as the Yankees manager. Now, a few weeks ago, a report came out that Aaron Boone would be brought back if it were left up to Brian Cashman. And as long as Hal Steinbrenner didn't overrule Brian Cashman, something he rarely does, Boone would be the manager in 24 for the final season of his contract. However, heads have got to roll after this season, and Cashman is too close to Steinbrenner and his family for him to be the first one to go. I believe this was more of a roster construction problem than a manager problem, but it's also time for some new leadership from the manager's office. The players simply did not respond to Aaron Boone's style. It's the manager's job to get the most out of his players. And when so many players underperformed and the Yankees did so poorly in extra inning games, there have to be consequences at the managerial position. I suspect, as an initial message to fans, that the Yankees intend to fix the problem this winter. They're going to fire Aaron Boone and overpay for manager Craig Counsell, the top managerial free agent and current manager of the Brewers. Honorable mention, Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo has become a one-dimensional player. He hits home runs. He doesn't do much else. He can play the outfield a little bit, but he's painfully slow. He can't run the bases. He gets injured all the time, and he's been about a 200 hitter for the last couple of years. I don't think the Yankees are going to be able to trade him, and I don't think they're just going to eat his contract. So I think this is unlikely that he will be gone, but I do think the Yankees are going to explore options. It might be one of those situations where he's willing to take a trade and waive his no-trade clause to someplace that needs a DH, maybe not a big-time contender that wants to put a few butts in the seats, and the Yankees eat a large portion of the contract. Paying some of the contract is better than paying all of the contract, but I still don't expect the Yankees to be able to move him. We'll see. Honorable mention, Isiah Kiner-Falefa. Now, he's been a nice little spark plug, and he can play all over the field, but the Yankees do have some young guys that are much cheaper that can all play multiple positions, whether it's Oswald Peraza or Oswaldo Cabrera. The Yankees are going to want to shed as much salary as possible in order to make improvements to the team, and I think that Isiah Kiner-Falefa and his $6 million might come in handy for Yamamoto. Let me know what you think in the comments, but keep it civil, guys. I know it's been a tough season, but the Yankees will be back. This is not the end of the Bronx Bombers. They will rise again. I'll see you next time.